a part of Western Reserve Junior Service League, we had a committee that surveyed all the social service agencies in the county. One of the biggest needs of the county was transportation.
When I became a commissioner, the Western Reserve Junior Service League came to us. They needed operating money to keep a bus going that was taking chronically ill patients who needed treatment in Cleveland.
Transit was needed to get those folks back and forth to their medical appointments.
The first aim that I had, and I think it reflected what the board had, was to provide services for the senior citizens in Lake County. Secondly it became apparent that students at Lakeland were faced with a choice between buying a car to get there, and if they did that, then they didn't have the money to pay the tuition to go there.
It started with Frank, and especially with the board members. Board members aren't paid on Laketran. They do it as a volunteer effort, and they work very, very hard to try to do the right thing.
Laketran really is a culmination of a multitude of people's efforts.
Laketran is an organization that has always had a goal, and that was to be a very good transportation organization.
There were a lot of people that felt strongly that we should only do dial-a-ride and we should not be in fixed route, because fixed route had never been a part of Lake County in the recent history. We certainly never envisioned the reception we have today to those fixed routes, especially Route 1 and of course Route 10 into Cleveland.
What we decided to do was to actually put something on the road so that the people could actually see what public transit would look like in Lake County.
Well, the perception of Laketran from the community, a lot of the people thought it was strictly for seniors, and that was a long time ago. And a lot of people today, I think, know much better now because we're all over Lake County.
I'll never forget them. Charlie Robbins on Route 1 and Ryan Bertleff and Owen Kane and Dick Deemer were the first 4 drivers that we hired.
Great Lakes Mall has a wonderful relationship with Laketran. We're almost a connecting hub for Laketran, which offers residents of Lake County opportunities to go 4 different routes and various connections throughout Lake County.
Lakeland and Laketran have really had a nice relationship for a number of years, and one of the most important programs that we have going right now is the opportunity for students to ride Laketran free of charge.
Transportation is the basis of economic development, and we felt that we needed to have that to exist.
If you build it, they will come. If you provide it for them, they will come and use it as well.
If Cleveland doesn't prosper, Lake County will not prosper. And we should have a greater ability to go in there.
In '85, we started what we call the 3-leg approach to public transit. We would have the dial-a-ride, we'd operate 1 bus route in Lake County, and would operate 1 commuter bus into downtown Cleveland.
One of the most significant moments was when Laketran officially took over the routes 43 and 49 from RTA. That started our express service into Cleveland. It was a moment where we turned into a real transit company.
For our commuter express passengers, we've just obtained approval from our partners in the city of Mentor to be able to expand the number of parking spaces at that facility.
I'm a big believer in taking Laketran to Indians games and Browns games. You can't beat the price. Try go down there and parking for $5. The aggravation of it is saving that is you can take your News Herald on the bus and read it with you as you're riding down to the stadium.
I started taking Laketran in 1999. Prior to that, I rode RTA for about 5 years, and I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't drive downtown.
In 2004, I think the one that sticks out most in my mind, and is probably most visible to our customers, was the opening of our first indoor transfer facility down at the East Lake Stadium.
The buck stops here. Each year, Laketran collects over 42,000 pounds of coins in their fare boxes, enough to equal the weight of 3 dial-a-ride buses.
When we started our little bus, we just were thinking of people who were ill.
Eventually, when the law provided for the creation of a transportation district, the Board of Commissioners created what became Laketran. Clearly, it was, I think, a medically driven need at first that was not being provided. That need was shown by the Junior Service League's a survey they conducted back in the early 1970s.
I think Laketran's greatest contribution to the community is its paratransit services.
What would seniors do without Laketran? We go shopping, we can go to get our hair done, the men can go to the barber shop, we can go out and eat, we can socialize with other friends at the different senior centers.
I want to get to them and talk to these caregiver people to let them know that there's a better way to get mom and dad there.
You folks in Lake County are very special to have a community that come together to supply transportation to the seniors. You just don't realize it.
I think Laketran drivers bring a lot of stability to the elderly, the handicapped, the mentally challenged. They look forward to seeing us. They really depend on us a lot.
People with disabilities need everything that everyone else does. We're people too. We need access to medical care, shopping, education, employment, to our jobs, and certainly recreation.
Their ability to get to and fro from these jobs was dependent on Laketran.
Dial-a-Ride program does enable employees and volunteers the opportunity to visit the Lake Metro Parks or to their work location, and by being there for them, they're also there for us.
Thank you for calling Laketran. Our call center handles over 180,000 calls per year. Thank you for holding. Your name, please?
I came on the board around 1981, and prior to that, there had been 4 attempts to get a transit levy passed in Lake County.
A recount of the vote, when they certified the vote in 1979, they found that there was an error in the addition, and it reversed the outcome of the election.
I think an awful lot of credit has to go to a fellow, Frank Angeloro. He took a very simple position. He said, if we're on a transit board, then by golly, we're going to have transit.
Now indeed was the time to ask the voters for a 0.25% sales tax. You know, again, Al Pike came to our corner, and Bob Clark, and former Congressman Bill Stanton stepped up to the plate and was one of the co-chairs. They identified with it, and they gave us the confidence that we needed to go out and get the sales tax passed.
We had people that had seen public transit operate in areas where they lived, and they were fans of it because it worked where they were from. We're very supportive of Laketran. We always will be. It serves a very good function to the community.
We had kids, I mean, we thought they were kids, but they came to vote, first-timers, because they said, my grandma say I have to come and cast a vote for Laketran because she wants a ride.
Laketran has passed 2 levies with literally 7 out of 10 people voting yes on our issue, which gives us a great deal of pride and that kind of support from the community.
In the beginning, buses were actually parked at the county garage, and drivers were responsible for filling them up in the evening after they got off route, for washing them even in the middle of the winter. We'd pull it into right into the garage, wash them, park them, and we'd go home. We had no radios, there was no contact with base.
In 1989, we were operating out of Grand River at what it's now called Blazing Bills. And we went from there to the Rayon out of a trailer, and that lasted for some period of time. We had a search team out which was composed of Dennis Morgan and Bob Clark, I think Frank Polifka. We're looking around the country for designs that looked like it could fit what we wanted to build. And we came across it.
When we built the facility out there in Grand River, I got the support of the other board members and got a resolution passed naming it the Frank Angeloro building. Having been there, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that if it wasn't for Frank Angeloro, we wouldn't be where we are today.
To make a fleet showpiece and to come out and look nice, it's got to start with the maintenance department. You have the finest maintenance facility. When you walk into your shop, and you can literally eat off the floor, as they say, it's unbelievable.
This is where the rubber meets the road. Did you know we replace more than 500 tires each year? And we drive almost 4 million miles a year.
Well, if one considers in the community that the people are the heart of the community, public transportation is the arteries.
Laketran is really one of the anchors of moving large amounts of people in an emergency to a safe location. The interoperability of the radio system within Lake County has enabled us to have radio contact with every Laketran bus that's operational.
When we put community partners such as Laketran and the Lake County Visitors Bureau in the ballpark, it brings people out there for other reasons aside from Captain's baseball. And with the transit center being located there, I think certainly it benefits a wide range of people.
For 2005, Laketran will be launching a very innovative passenger amenities program, which is designed to improve the safety, comfort, reliability, and convenience for our passengers.
A future issue for the rider could be as the trains in major metropolitan cities have wireless internet on the trains. You have a commuter that's spending a modest amount of time on a bus. They'd like to check their email before they get to their office.
I'd like to see us with much more service out on the street because I think it's going to be needed.
We've grown in leaps and bounds in 16, 18 months. We've done things with the possibility of almost 1 million riders in one single year. It's really unbelievable how the organization has grown.
What has always struck me about Laketran and all of its people is that they are singularly committed to what is good for the residents of Lake County, not only their particular corporate interest. And so they look to find ways to solve the needs of people in terms of moving around Lake County easily, and they put that front and center in everything they do.
In 2003, I was president of the Mentor Chamber of Commerce, and I found out more about Laketran than I ever knew, and it's not only for bringing people to and from work, but also transporting people to the mall to shop for Christmas or to work there at the retail store. There's just so many advantages of having Laketran that for the minimal cost to the resident, that it's amazing.
I think the biggest thing about Laketran, it gives seniors a right to be independent and to live their lives.
Laketran's always our first choice, always the consumer's first choice.
The Society for Rehabilitation serves children and adults with disabilities. Laketran provides them with the freedom and independence they need to get to the places they need to go in Lake County.
While I'm at the YMCA, either coaching the kids or lifeguarding, I see Laketran pull up and drop off many passengers. The nice part about that is me being in